Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Grant. How are you?
I was having a fantastic morning this morning until I go take a scroll on Twitter and I see that Heat Twitter is in an absolute civil war about some news that we're going to get into a little bit later. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm doing okay, all things considering, but wasn't expecting that to start my morning.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start out our episode like we start out every single week with our hot take of the week. So Mason, what's your hot take this week?
So my hot take isn't too hot, I wouldn't say. I'd say Bengals would be a top 5 team if they had a slightly better defense. Just I don't think that's too ridiculous to say. Just all of the numbers that
Mm,
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been putting up week in and week out. Like last night, they just put on another stellar performance, and Jamar Chase I think went for 177 yards and I think a touchdown. So it's just been ridiculous. So I think that they'd definitely be up there with like one of the undefeated or close to undefeated teams with the Chiefs and the Bills and all of them. If they just had a better defense. So yeah, that's
right.
my hot take of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very fair hot take of the week. My hot take of the week is also Bengals related. I said that
Mm,
Joe Burrow would win MVP if his team didn't sell him so much.
yeah,
You look
yeah,
at Joe Burrow's stats this year, he is elite right now.
it's
He has
ridiculous.
3,706 yards, which is first, and it's first by a lot, too. 33
Yeah,
passing touchdowns, which is also first. He only has 6 interceptions, and he has a 74.1 QBR, which is ranked second. So he has been absolutely insane, and it's just going completely under the radar because of how bad the Bengals, like you said, their defense has been, and they've been
hmm,
losing games. Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy, but he's been really good, and I think he'd be in that MVP conversation. If not, he would be MVP if they just had like a
right.
winning record and we're a playoff team.
Hmm.
Yeah, so those are our hot takes of the week. Now we're going to slide into our underdog of the week. This is just where we shout someone out that doesn't get talked about as much. Mason, who's your underdog of the week? Why are you
So
smiling
my
like that?
underdog of the week has nothing to do with skill. It's actually reverse skill. It goes to Drew Lock for keeping the tank alive. I'm sure everyone saw the clip of him, having a clear lane to get a first down. He just absolutely runs horizontally. I think that might have been one of the plays of all time. In my watching of football. I just think it's hilarious, and he's as a Giants fan, he's rightfully so underdog of the week.
Keeping the tank alive. I like it.
Yeah,
Um, my underdog of the week. This is the only credit I'm giving to this organization for the week, and that's Tyler Hero. He won Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He averaged 26.4 points, 5.6 rebounds, 5 assists, and he's doing this shooting 51, 45, and 91 from the field. So he's shooting 50, 40, 90 club right now. He's led the team to a 3-game win streak and beating the Cavs, but apparently none of that matters to Pat Riley. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, Tyler Hero, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been the best player on the team this year. I'm so happy to see him grow into this matured player and looking like a potential all-star. So that's my underdog of the week.
nice.
All right. Now we're going to go slide into the NFL, and we're going to start for a game prediction update. This is where on TikTok and Instagram at GM Sports Report, we predict every single game, every single week. We're going to go over our records right now. We both went 10-3 this week. So that sets my record at 145-63 and your record at 140-68. So you're still 5 games back, running out of time here. Gotta start making
I don't
things
know what to
happen.
do. What more can I do? Like
I don't know.
he's
We both
copying
picked the
me every
same.
single week.
No,
Everybody,
don't
he's
do that.
copying me.
Don't do that. I picked them before
Dude's
you
like,
even
"Yo, what
sent
are
them
your
to me. You
picks
wait
this
like a
week?
whole
I'm gonna."
day. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that because you wait like a whole day after I send you the prediction sheet because you're probably waiting on news to see who's injured and who's not injured and all that stuff. I know
Which
you.
is fair. It's a
It's
good
fair,
thing to
but you
do.
can't
Like
say that I copy you when I pick them first. Anyways, I digress.
it's ridiculous.
All right. Scoreboard.
If I didn't pick
Anyways,
the Giants this year, for the first 5 weeks, it would be different.
fair enough, but you did. Anyways,
Whatever.
now what I want to do for the NFL is I want to just kind of go through every single division and just pick who you think is going to win the division, who's going to have the biggest impact in the playoffs. We'll go back and forth for each division. We'll start with the
Mhm.
AFC East. Who do you got?
Okay. So AFC East, I have the Buffalo Bills. I kind of think it's the only answer for that division. I know Bills or Dolphins kind of have a little bit of a spark going. They did have a close game against the Jets, which I'll let you kind of get into a little bit, but I think the Bills are kind of the head of that division right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the Bills. They're the best team in that division. They're potentially the best team in the AFC. Like you said, the Dolphins have shown some life recently. They had a good win against the Jets.
Hmm.
Tua's looked amazing since coming back from injury, but the Bills are the best team in the division. Let's be for real, and they own the Dolphins. I mean, until the Dolphins prove
Right.
otherwise, they own that division. All right, now we'll slide over to the AFC West. Who do you got for them?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear cut. It's the Chiefs. The Broncos have been absolutely surprising me, though. They are an exciting team to watch. I think they started the year a little better with, Bo Nix coming straight into the season. Rookie straight out of college, so kind of getting that experience under his belt. But now in one of the in a tough division like with the Chiefs and all those guys, because Raiders were looking pretty good in the beginning and then they just fell off. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have the Chiefs.
Yeah, I also have the Chiefs, but I also put in asterisks to not be surprised if the Chargers or Broncos make some noise in the playoffs because
Right? Yeah,
those
Chargers.
two teams, yeah, so those two teams have looked pretty good. So yeah, but it's going to
Hmm.
be the Chiefs. Their
It
black
is.
magic
Yeah.
continues.
That's
Um,
ridiculous.
yeah. So we'll slide it before we get into that rabbit hole. We'll just slide to the next division, which would be the AFC North.
This is probably one of my favorite divisions to watch this year, and Steelers and Ravens. They're just exciting to watch, both of them. Um, I don't have a clear cut winner between the two. Um, if I had to pick one, probably be right now. It'd probably be the Steelers. I know it's a little
Fair.
bold, but
I
they
mean, they
just
did beat the
it
Ravens.
looks like they got it. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, go with
Yeah.
Steelers.
I think it's between the Steelers and Ravens, obviously. I picked the Ravens just because I looked ahead at schedules, and the Steelers' last four games is Philadelphia, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. So that's a
That's
pretty.
playoff. Yeah,
It's
that's
it's yeah, it's you're gonna figure out a lot about that team with those last four games. It's either
yeah.
gonna make or break them. But I just have the Ravens winning. They have a little bit easier of a schedule. I can't remember their last four off the top of my head, but they're not facing like
Hmm.
the Eagles or Chiefs, so that's a pretty
Right,
tough end to the season. But if they win some of those games and they make it out, they'll be battle tested going into the playoffs. So can
for
make or
sure.
break them.
Yep.
All right, and now we're gonna slide into the last AFC division, which is the AFC South. Pretty bad division in my
Um,
opinion.
I'm gonna go with the Texans. They've had their fair share of, I guess, bumps in the road, but I think they'll make it out pretty cleanly.
Yeah, I think it's also the Texans. The Colts have had their ups and downs, but they just
Yeah,
don't look like a playoff team to me.
and then you have the Jags
Yeah,
and
I'm also
Titans. So
right. Yeah, that division is very weak compared to the other ones,
yeah,
but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Texans. All right, now we're gonna slide over to the NFC, and we're gonna start the NFC East.
yeah. Well, Philly, go ahead,
You don't want to
go for it.
elaborate?
I said
Okay.
Philly. No, I mean, there's
Okay.
nothing else to say.
All right. Yeah. I also have the Eagles winning the division. I think the Commanders were there for a little bit, but I think they've kind of slowed down a little bit. So yeah, I think it's the Eagles. All right,
Yeah.
NFC West. It's a fun division.
Uh, yeah, I'm going with Seahawks. They've been kind of on a tear this year. But I don't think they've honestly been talked about enough. I feel like they're kind of like I don't know how to say this, but I'll go with them for this division just because the Giants beat them, and I kind of have a little bit of bragging rights over them. But yeah, I'll go with Seahawks.
I'm actually going to go with the Rams. I think they were pretty beat up in the beginning of that season, so that's why they lost a lot of their games. They're coming
That's
off a
true.
great win against the Bills, and I think they have a very talented offense. I mean, obviously you got Puka and you got Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams, who's looked amazing, and then you got Stafford, who's a pretty good season quarterback. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams. I know the Seahawks are pretty good too, and I also think they're an underrated team this year, but I think the Rams are a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to go to the NFC North, which is by far the best division of football. So,
Yeah, I mean, Vikings and Lions, they're both going to be big impacts in the playoffs. I think Lions are going to have the slight edge and going to win the division, but just they seem like a complete football team right now, and I can't get over how much I love Dan Campbell, that head coach over there, and just he really set the foundation of what he wanted that program to be, and it's coming to life, and it's awesome to see. So, yeah, I'm going with the Lions.
yeah, it's definitely the Lions. But man, the Vikings and Packers, those two
It's
teams are
so
just incredible
yeah,
this season. The Packers have been really turning it on the
yeah.
last month or so. They've looked great. Josh
They've been
Jacobs has looked
shadowed though.
amazing. They
Yeah.
sure have. Yeah. So I think it's going to be the Lions division this year, obviously. But man, Vikings and Packers, those are two pretty good teams.
hmm
Now we're gonna slide over to another weaker division, which is the NFC South. Who do you got winning that?
I had just I'm gonna get into it a little bit later, but the Falcons, they had the chance to win it, but Buccaneers, right now are sitting at a better record. I'm not too sure what the rest of their schedule looks like, but it just like I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but just imagine if the Buccaneers were healthy, how much they'd just be
Hmm.
dominating this division. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go with the Buccaneers.
yeah. I'm also going with the Bucks, mainly because on episode 1 I made that whole dark horse MVP comment
Baker
about Baker
Mayfield, yeah.
Mayfield, and yeah, I just like the Bucks. They're a fun team to watch. Like we said, if they stayed healthy, who knows what their potential could be like. But yeah, I think it's the Bucks. I think
hmm
the Falcons have no one to blame but themselves. They had every right to win this division, and they've been terrible the last 4 weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks as
Yep.
well. All right, well,
Nice.
there's all the divisions. Real quick, who do you think's winning the AFC and who do you think's winning the NFC?
AFC, I'll go. I mean, I guess I'll go Chiefs. Just because if the black magic hasn't worn off now, I don't think it will. It's
It's gonna
just
get even worse during
that's
playoff
all it is.
time.
It's gonna be ridiculous. Like whatever. So like, I'll go with the Chiefs and then NFC. NFC is gonna be the exciting one, man.
Mm.
Um, I want to say Lions, man. I know, it's between Lions and Philly. That's kind of the bigger ones. But there's so many different outcomes that can happen, and I'm so excited to watch that playoffs. Chiefs are just gonna find a way to get in, but yeah,
Yeah.
that NFC, that whole wild, like just everything leading up to the championship is gonna be so fun to watch. So I'll go with the Lions.
Yeah. Um, I'm also going to pick the Chiefs, even though I do not think they're the best team in the AFC, but I just think they're going to
No.
find their way in like they always do.
Mhm.
And then NFC, I know I said last week that I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, but after seeing that Carolina game, it kind of
Yeah.
rubbed me the wrong
Yep.
way. So I'm
Mhm.
also going to go with recency bias and go with the Lions as well. And I also like the Lions more personally.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs Lions as well. So yeah, there's all our predictions moving forward for the NFL. Now what we're gonna do is go into our 3 takeaways from the previous week of the NFL. So Mason, what were your 3 takeaways from this last week?
So my first one is, touching on that Falcons team. Start of the season, Kirk Cousins he was on a tear, and like I saw a graphic saying the last 4 games, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 63.5 passer rating, and 0-4 record. Falcons are going to continue to just not win if he keeps putting up these numbers. If they can finish the season strong, they can win the division. against the Buccaneers, who are also hurt. But yeah, Cousins just struggled, and it's not going to get any better if he doesn't play better. Next one is the Minnesota Vikings. Their offense was just balling out. Um, Sam Darnold went for 22 for 28, 347 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Justin Jefferson, 8 receptions, 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. And wait, did I get that messed up? I think Jordan Addison had 8 receptions, 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Justin
Yes, yeah,
Jefferson, 7 receptions, 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
for 2, yeah,
both had very similar stats, just a couple numbers off. So that's kind of what got me. But yeah,
yeah.
they just putting up numbers, and it's insane to see. And then last one is Puka Nakua, just went on an absolute tear. 12 receptions, 162 yards and touchdown. Just insane win against the Buffalo Bills, who have been absolutely hot. So I think they really needed that.
Yeah, I like all 3 of those. I agree with all of them. My 3 takeaways. My first one is kind of what I was hinting at earlier. I think the Rams are a legit dark horse team moving forward. I think that
Yep.
win they had against Buffalo was very impressive, and I think their offense is just as stacked as any other team's offense. I mean, you got Puka, you got Cooper Kupp, and Kyron Williams looks like a top 5 running back this
Yeah.
year. He's looked amazing, so that's a legit team. My number 2 takeaway is also that it's time to bench Kirk Cousins. I mean, this man's last 4 games, he's had 0 touchdowns for 8 interceptions and an 0-4 record. Something needs to change with
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. Their team is way too talented to not make the playoffs. And
Yep.
yeah, they need to make a change, and they need to make it fast. And I think that starts
Michael
by benching
Penix.
Kirk Cousins, yeah, and starting Michael Penix. So that's my second takeaway. My third takeaway is that Green Bay is a legit team this year. I also was hinting at that earlier. I think they've looked very good. They're a very physical team, which you need going into the playoffs. They play great defense. Their offense looks really good. Jordan Love's looked really good since being healthy. Josh Jacobs has looked really good. Some of their receivers, it's more of a combined effort by the receivers. Reed
Yep.
and Watson, they've looked really good. So yeah, I think they're a legit team moving forward, but they're also being shadowed by the Vikings and Lions. So it'll be interesting to see how
Yes.
that plays out.
Shout out Xavier McKinney.
Yes, he's been amazing.
Yep. I miss
Um,
him.
yeah, I bet you do. Speaking of missing people, we're gonna slide
Ah,
into the MLB
crap.
now, and we just had history happen the last couple of days. That being, Juan Soto has signed a 15-year, $765 million deal to join the New York Mets. Mason, what are your thoughts on the Juan Soto deal as a Yankees fan?
So first off, I'd like you to know that before we started recording, I was wearing a Yankee shirt, and I was like, "Well, I can't back it right now." So I just switched and put on another trash team shirt, the New York Giants. So, um, but yeah, it's just I don't think I've ever seen someone make in something that they love to do, like especially a sport, $765 million. It's never, it's the largest contract in sports history. Um, it's I mean, I think so. I don't know about all the soccer
It is.
stuff, but it it's
It is.
insane, like for 15 years. Who knows, what he'll be doing in 15 years if he gets switched to DH from, not being the greatest fielder or what, but he's going to bring an impact to that team, and it's really up to the Mets to kind of, I guess, build around him at this point. Um they can't bring back Pete Alonso, so I don't know what's going to happen there. If Yankees are going to try and get him, I know we had talks about it, but Yankees gave him an offer 760 for 16 years, so he just wanted to be a Met. That's all it is. So
Yeah.
can't really fight. You can't discredit the Yankees as much as I'm making it seem to be. Just it's money talks, and I guess that 5 million was showing a lot more than people think. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to think about it.
Um, my opinion is the Yankees didn't lose Juan Soto off of negotiations. They lost him by their playoff performance, by him being the only guy showing up other than Stanton, by
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Boone making his bad decisions as a coach, by
Freaking,
getting embarrassed in
that's
the
what.
World
Yeah.
Series. That's where you lost
Mm-hmm.
him, in my opinion, at least. If you guys would have put up a great effort and you went out and you went 7 games in the World Series and everyone was playing good, we might be having a different conversation right now. But I think you lost him through that playoff run. I think you slowly
Yeah.
saw him starting to get more and more disassociated as that World Series push went on. As far as the Yankees fans being all like, "Oh, he's disloyal, he's
Yeah.
a snake," all that stuff. Look, Juan Soto was traded to the Yankees. He didn't sign a 1-year deal with the Yankees. He was traded to the Yankees, and you guys knew coming in that he was on an expiring contract and he was looking to get a big contract. So you knew you were taking a risk right there then and there. So it's not like he was. It's
Got
like
too
I don't know
attached.
how to explain it.
Yep.
Yeah, you couldn't be attached. You knew what you're getting yourselves into. Um, and like I said, I think if you had a better playoff performances by Aaron Judge and Aaron Boone didn't make those bad decisions and it looked a lot more clean than what it looked like, I think we might be having a different conversation. But those things
Mhm.
didn't happen, and now he's a Met. And another thing is, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, well, the Yankees are a much better team in the future." Are they? Because you look at that Mets
Mm-mm.
farm system; they have a very good farm system with Acuna and Brett Beatty. They got all kinds of all kinds of talent in their farm system that is going to be coming into play here in their future. I think in the future the Mets are going to be a very talented team, and they looked amazing last year going into that playoff run. Francisco Lindor's a MVP finalist. Yeah, I don't think they'll keep Pete Alonso, but who knows? Maybe Pete Alonso will take a pay cut and come back. You never know. That team's a legit
Mm.
team. So I don't think the Mets are going to be some bad team. I think that NL East is going to be the best division in baseball with the Phillies and the Braves and the Mets now. So, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy deal, 15 years for
Yeah.
$765 million. I could kind of like talk myself into it with Shohei because it's like you're kind of paying for two players in a way
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
getting a
Yeah.
pitcher and a hitter. But like you said, 5 years from now, Juan Soto might be a DH because he's not the best fielder
Which
and
is
he's only going to be
insane
getting
to
old.
think about.
Yeah, so he might just be a DH, but he will win you games with his hit, and it's not. He's a
He
once in a
will.
generation talent. It's just crazy. That contract is just crazy. I don't know.
We're
Maybe the
playing
Yankees
OG.
look back at this in 5 years
We're
and
playing.
be thankful that didn't happen. But what were
Yeah,
you
I
saying?
know. We're just playing OG Fortnite. I looked down. I'm like, because I was talking to Grant. It was Sunday night, and I'm like, man, I need to figure out like who to start following on Twitter so I can get this information. And Grant's like, no way, he's gonna come out with it this weekend. And I'm like, that's what they said.
Yeah,
So he told me to
I thought it
follow.
was too. I knew they said it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
who did you tell me to follow again? What's his name?
Jeff Passons
Uh, yeah. So he told me
and
to follow
Ken
him.
Rosenthal.
Rosenthal, that's what it was. So
Yeah.
I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh. And like it was like not even 5 minutes later he came out the news and just everything started blowing up. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Wild
mean,
night.
it'll be interesting. Those Subway series are going to be fun, though. Let me tell you.
Yeah. My
Excited for that
cousin's already
rivalry.
sending me ticket
Yeah, that's
prices
going to
for
be
it.
fun to watch. It's going to be fun to
Yeah.
watch. All right, now we're going to slide into the NBA, and we're just going to start with our player of the week. So, Mason, who's your NBA player of the week?
So this is what I was gonna kinda I was gonna like kinda segue, but I gotta say your boy Tyler Hero. I mean, he won NBA Eastern Player of the Week. I didn't know if you wanted to kind of go off on like his stats and all that. Kind of give your boy some praise, but I think he's been amazing this past week.
Yeah, I mean, I had him as underdog of the week. He's been really
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
averaging close to 27 this month. Um, it's just hard now that
I
this Jimmy
know, I
Butler
know,
news has
I
come
know.
out to be happy. Because now I was like, after this last week when we went 3-0 and we won three really good games, Lakers, we beat the Lakers by a
Yeah,
ton. I think it was like close to 40
it's
points.
like 40.
And then
Yeah.
we beat the Suns in a decent fashion. And then we beat the Cavs in a comfortable win. It wasn't like a clutch time game. It was a comfortable win. And I was
Mhm.
so happy. Tyler Hero was amazing. He had 19 points in the third quarter alone in that Cleveland Cavaliers game. He's been amazing. And
Mhm.
then you get hit with the news about Jimmy Butler today, and it's hard to be happy about any of that. But, Tyler Hero has been a very bright spot this season. I'm very happy with his production. And we're going to get into the
Right.
Jimmy Butler stuff in a couple minutes. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a good pick for player of the week. My player of the week, I'm going with the big name. I'm going Nikola Jokic. I don't know if you know, but in 2 games, he scored 104 points. And this season, his stats are just like, it's unbelievable what his stats are. He's averaging like 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. Like he's averaging a 30-point triple double, which is just insane. We haven't seen that since Russell Westbrook's prime years, which we all said during that time we'd never see that again. And here we are. He's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He is the Nuggets offense. Yeah, that's my player of the week. I had to shout him out. All right, now we're going to slide into team of the week. So, Mason, who's your team this week?
So I haven't been watching them and keeping up too much about them, but I was kind of just like looking through all the teams and stuff, and Memphis Grizzlies have been killing it. They won 9 of the last 10 games and are now second in the Western Conference at 17-8. So, they're just killing it. So yeah, I gotta shout them out for team of the week.
I also went Memphis Grizzlies. Like you said,
Yeah.
9-1 in last 10. Very impressive. One of their more impressive wins, they beat the Celtics, which is a very impressive
Uh-huh.
win. They're now second in the West. And also, John Morant and Desmond Bane, their two guards, are in and out of the lineup right now. They're not fully healthy. They're kind of missing some games, and they're still being able to put up wins. So it's very impressive. And yeah, I think they deserve to be shouted out as team of the week.
Yeah.
All right. Now for the main event of the NBA. This morning, we got news that the Miami Heat are open to trades for Jimmy Butler. Mason, go ahead and give your thoughts on it before I go on my rant.
No, I think you could just go for it, man. I don't think there's anything I'm gonna say that you're not going to. So
All right. I'm going to try
just
to
do your
keep
thing.
this. Yeah, I'm not going to try to rant for like 10, 20 minutes here, but I could if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Look, there's a civil war going on Heat Twitter right now. Obviously, there's fans that have been wanting the trade Jimmy, and there's fans that don't. I want to make this very clear. I fall on the side of we should not trade him. I think you should give him the contract that he's looking for as a thank you, let alone how good he is. He's looked good this season. And here's the thing. Pat Riley said going into the offseason that the reason he didn't want to give him the contract yet is because he wanted Jimmy to show that he can play as many games with the same amount of intensity that he plays with in the playoffs. And so far, he's done just that. He's playing back to backs. He's gotten injured twice, but he's only missed like two to 4 games from it, which is way different than when it was last season. Last season, if he got hurt,
Yeah.
he'd be missing a month or two. Okay, so I think he's showing that he's willing to make these like changes. And the fact that like we're on a 3-game win streak now, and all of a sudden now you want to bring out that news that we're open to trading him, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I just want to remind everyone, all the Heat fans out there that are freaking out right now, they're just saying they're open to trading him. It does not mean that they're looking to trade him. It doesn't mean that they're going to trade him. They're just open to the potential idea. And I think what that means is that if we get by the trade deadline and we're a terrible team and we know we're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs, I think you got to look at it from the business aspect of, if Jimmy's not going to stay with us this offseason, we don't want to lose him for nothing. So you're going to trade him. So I think that they're going to look to trade him if they're bad at the deadline. But if they're really good around the deadline and they look like a competitive team, there's no shot they trade him. And I'm willing to stand on that. They're not going to trade him if we're competitive. So it all depends on what we look like coming into the trade deadline. So for everyone freaking out saying it's guaranteed he's going to be traded, he's not. Now, do the teams that are interested make sense? Yes, it's come out that Dallas and Houston are two teams that are really interested in him, and the Golden State Warriors are also interested in him. All 3 of those teams make sense. If we are really
You
bad by
said
the deadline, look, what? Go ahead.
like New Orleans was interested for like Brandon Ingram or something, right?
That's a different thing. That was just Brandon Ingram's on the trade market too. He was mentioning 2
Okay.
things about, yeah.
Okay.
If we're really bad by the trade deadline, I don't want it to happen. I do not want Jimmy Butler to be traded. Obviously, I mean, I have his picture up here, right over there. I'm the biggest Jimmy Butler fan there is. I mean, you can ask any of my friends. I wore his jersey to my graduation. I had it under my graduation outfit. Okay. I don't want it to happen, but if we're really bad at the deadline, those teams make sense. They have good young assets that can make a good package, and those are all teams that would become win now teams if they get Jimmy Butler. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't want it to happen. It's bad news to hear, sure, especially when you're on a 3-game win streak right now and you're a top 10 offense in the NBA, but seems to be the talk of the town, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm very upset about it. Which
Oh,
wait,
just
one
got a
more thing.
Shams tweet.
This man was in the Big Face coffee shop that he opened last week in Miami. He was in there serving coffee to people. Okay, this man wants to be in Miami. Okay, you can't tell me otherwise. Okay, maybe I'm being a little delusional, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that for now.
Bro's gonna be on Twitter 24/7.
You're darn right I am. All right. Now we're gonna slide into the UFC. We're just gonna real quick because that rant took a little bit
Yeah,
longer than I expected. What was your thoughts on UFC 310?
I didn't think it was a very great card at all. Really, the only I guess interesting fights were you know Pantoja and Kai, that new guy that they made his UFC debut, which turned out to be not very good, and then Gary Machado versus Shavkat, and like that was Ian Gary surprised me the most out of really anybody, I think, because I think everyone kind of anticipated Shavkat to just go in and like absolutely kill the guy, but I mean he's like one of the only guys to make him go into decision, so you kind of got to give him his credit where it's due. So, but other than that, yeah, I mean, just I guess there was some trouble with the Cyril Gain and Volkov. I guess that was a pretty. He got robbed. Volkov got robbed, and then yeah, but that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I also think it was a very boring, mediocre card, but you're coming to the end of the year, so it makes sense. Not every card can
Yeah.
be fantastic, but I'm not a big Ian Gary fan, so you saying he should get credit. I do want to say this. I don't know if you saw, but Shavkat was fighting on a
Yeah.
torn MCL, so that probably has a
Yeah.
little bit to do with it. Anyways, yeah, I didn't think it was the best card, but that's all I really got to say about it. I
311
don't
is
think
gonna
you
be a
should.
banger.
Yeah, 311 is going to be phenomenal. I'm very excited for that one. But
Yeah.
as far as the given the I forget his name, the guy from Japan that they gave the title shot to against Pantoja.
Oh yeah.
Why are we giving a guy in his first ever UFC fight, a title fight against someone that's considered like one of the best in their division of all time? I mean, that's just you're setting him up for failure there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Um, yeah, that's my thoughts for UFC 310. But like you said, the UFC 311, that's going to be very exciting, and we'll get more into UFC when
Oh
that
yeah.
headline comes. I feel like this last one wasn't
Yep.
really newsworthy to talk
No, it
about.
wasn't worth it. No.
Yeah. All right, now we're gonna slide into college football. The playoffs have been announced. I know you're very excited for that. I just want to know, do
Very
you
excited.
think or who's your favorite to win, and do you think anyone got snubbed from the playoffs?
So my favorite to win, I'd have to say, is Oregon. Just they're ridiculous. Their offense is insane. And I don't think anyone got snubbed. I honestly think that the playoff committee probably did the best they may have ever done, like ever done. I don't think anyone got snubbed, but yeah, I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, I also picked Oregon to be the favorite. I think they're the most dominant team. And as far as if anyone got snubbed, I know as much as I want
Yeah,
to say
yeah,
Miami
yeah.
got, as much as I want to say Miami got snubbed, I can admit that they don't deserve to be in there. It hurts to say, but as much as I wanted them to
As
make
long as
it, they didn't, and they didn't deserve to
as
make
long
it.
as Alabama's not in there, that's the only
That's fair.
thing that
Yeah.
anyone was
Yeah.
worried about.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think anyone got snubbed. I think it was good decisions, like you said. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, now we're going to go into that first round, and we're just going to go over the teams and who we think is going to win. So we're going to start with number 12 ranked Clemson at number 5 Texas. Who do you got winning?
I think even with a shaky Quinn Ewers against Georgia in that SEC championship game, Texas's defense can win the game for them. Cade Klubnik has been on an absolute tear for Clemson. Their offense has just been a powerhouse. But the only thing that I will say is that their defense is not the greatest. So, if Texas can get their offense moving, whether it's Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning in for just like a little QB run, I think that they can get the job done.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to keep my answers more short and sweet because you're more of the college football guy and you can break it
That's
down
fine.
more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm just going to also go with Texas. I think they're the better team. Short and simple.
Okay. Yep.
All right, now we're going to go into the next game, which is number 9 Tennessee at number 8 Ohio State. Who do you got winning that?
I think this will honestly be the best game in the first round. Ohio State, I think, will win a close game. They got Will Howard at quarterback, which I know we're not too high on from college football, the game still. But yeah, it just they got players, man. Jeremiah Smith at receiver is just a dog. And yeah, I think Tennessee is an awesome offense as well, but I think Ohio State is gonna be able to get it.
Like I said, I'm not as into college football as everyone else, so I picked Tennessee just because I don't like Will Howard. Yeah,
Okay.
Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, next we got number 11 SMU at number 6 Penn State. Who you got?
Okay, so I have Penn State. Just their running back duo that they have with Singleton and I can't remember his other name, but number 13, just absolute ballers. And you got Warren at tight end, who is a huge target. It just they have guys on their offense, and I think SMU is good, but I don't know if they'll be able to beat Penn State kind of good, especially at home. And those Penn State whiteouts, man, those is probably one of the best atmospheres in football, like hands down. So yeah, I'll pick Penn State.
Yeah, I also picked Penn State. I think home field advantage is huge here. And like you said, I think
100%.
Singleton's phenomenal. I think Warren's phenomenal. So yeah, I got Penn State winning by a landslide too. I don't think it's even going to be close.
Mm.
Last game of the first round, we got number 10 Indiana at number 7 Notre Dame. Who do you got winning that?
I have Notre Dame. I went to go watch them in the Shamrock Series against Army at Yankee Stadium, and man, I'll tell you that they have to be one of the most dominant college football teams I think I've seen this season. Um, you know, their running back Love, I can't remember his first name. He's just insane. Riley Leonard is good. I don't know if he'll be able to do great against Indiana's defense because Indiana has been one of the biggest like underrated teams this year. So they've surprised a lot of people. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but I will say Notre Dame will win. So
All right. I think there's always one upset in college football, at least.
yeah, yeah.
So I kind of picked this game to be the upset because I feel like it's the most realistic to be the upset. So that's why I'm going with Indiana. I think Notre Dame's very
Another
good. I also watched them against that Army game and thought they were dominant. But
yeah.
yeah.
Another really quick thing too is that Notre Dame did lose earlier this season to a Northern Illinois university. So that they weren't
Hmm.
even thought about. They're just one of those teams, and Notre Dame did lose. So I think you're right. They could be the upset.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I knew that about the Northern Illinois, of
Yeah.
course. And, yeah, so that's why I did it. Um, all right, yeah. So very excited to see what happens when the playoffs come around. Yeah, we'll see if we'll fall back and see if we're right on these. Now for the third and final segment of the show, I want to do something a little fun. With the Juan Soto contract being signed and history being made, it made my mind start going, and it made me think, like, man, if you could just have anyone in that sport on your team, who would you pick? So for this last segment, we're gonna do a GM top 3, and we're both gonna go back and forth over our NBA team, our MLB team, our NFL team, and we're just gonna pick any player that you could add to that team. And who would it be? So, Mason, we're gonna start with NBA. Who is one player that you would add to your NBA team?
2011 LeBron James.
All right. We gotta
Okay,
do
hold
it.
on.
We gotta do it
I'm kidding. I'm
current. I
kidding.
mean,
I'm
come on
kidding. I'm
now.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's fair
Um,
though.
man. So any NBA player, I'd probably go Ja Morant. Just spice up the offense a little bit. I think that would just be, we have exciting guys on our team, like on the Knicks, but he'd be that, kind of thuggish guy that everyone have to kind of watch out for because we have a very mixed personality group in our starting rotation. So he'd be one of the guys who'd be like, oh, don't mess with him. So yeah, John Morant.
I'm going with someone that if I think they came to the Miami Heat, they'd be the current day Dwayne Wade, and that's Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards is like
Mm.
he is a Heat player. Like you watch that man play, like the get down and dirty, play that defense, drive to the basket, can shoot. He's a competitor. He has that competitive mindset. He's not afraid of anyone. He just screams Miami Heat player, and he's young, so that would also add to the future. I think Anthony Edwards, if I could just pick anyone in the NBA, that would be the player I'd pick, is Anthony Edwards. All right, now we're going to go to the MLB. Who's one player you can add to the MLB?
So I went realistic first, and I said Cody Bellinger. You know, we could use an outfielder and stuff like that. But if I'm just going completely, you know, fantasy, I'd go, you know, Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
You know, we could use a starting pitcher for sure, and then, yeah, we need a DH, I guess. Well, I mean, we still have Stanton, but you know, yeah. So I'd go Ohtani.
I mean, obviously the first person I put down was Shohei, because like, who wouldn't put down Shohei? If you could pick anyone in the MLB,
Nobody.
everyone's picking Shohei. But I did want to give like a not realistic, because it's probably never going to happen, but someone that would fit perfectly onto the Cubs. The Cubs have a pretty solid positional group, I'd say. That what they lack in positions, they have good depth in their farm system for those positions. So the one position that the Cubs have struggled with ever since losing Wilson Contreras is catcher. So I put Adley Rutschman from the Baltimore Orioles, a young phenom at catcher,
He's
probably
solid.
going to be the best catcher in the league for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's the person I would add onto the Chicago Cubs, other than Shohei Ohtani, obviously. So yeah, Adley Rutschman.
Nice.
Now, who is one player that you would add to your NFL team?
So I know we talk crap about him a lot. I'm just going quarterback, so I would say Patrick
Jalen
Mahomes.
Hurts?
Heck no, man. What the heck is wrong with you? I'm fighting words, man.
Sorry.
So yeah, it'd probably be him or like Lamar Jackson, honestly.
Patrick
Because we
Mahomes,
need a
really?
guy who can. Yeah, we need a guy that can kind of move around back there, because O line is decent, but not this year because we got guys hurt. But yeah, we need a quarterback bad, but realistically, I'd want Cam Ward. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. The Dolphins. They're a tricky
Yeah,
one, because you think of the skills positions. Well,
100%.
they have good receivers. You look at the running backs. They have good running backs. And Tua, when he's healthy, looks like a very good quarterback. So I want to go quarterback. The obvious answer would be to say O-line, but that's boring. I don't want to
That's
just name out
boring.
some O-line person. So I'm looking at their second biggest problem, which to me is how
Linebacker.
soft they play on defense. And they suck at tackling. They're probably, I don't know this off the top of my head, but they probably are the worst tackling team in football. And they're just so soft. They play with such a soft mindset. If you watch them,
Can I guess real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
Are you gonna say Fred Warner?
Holy cow! How did you know that?
Bro,
Yes,
he's one of the
Fred
best
Warner is the
linebackers in
player.
the league.
Yes, I
I
was
was
gonna
I was
say we
thinking
need.
Bobby
Yes,
Wagner, Fred
yep,
Warner. Bro, he's a
yep.
dog. He's a dog.
Yeah, we need a dog. We need someone that plays hard.
That's
That's gonna set the tone. A culture of we're not
jump
gonna play
30
soft
yards in the air
anymore.
for an interception.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I picked Fred
that's a
Warner
good one.
because he is an absolute dog, and that's what we need on this defense. We need someone that's gonna come in and be ready to rip someone's head off and lead the culture and change the culture from being
Oh
soft
my
to being
gosh, he'd
hard.
be insane.
Yeah. So yeah, Fred Warner. That's a very impressive that you picked that.
Dude, it's
I'm
that
very
GM
shocked.
wavelength, man.
It
It's
is.
that
It
GM
really is.
wavelength.
Wow. I did not think you're gonna pick that.
Dude,
Wow.
that was a snipe. That was one of them.
Yeah, yeah, that was
You
very
know?
impressive. Yeah, Fred Warner is the person I'd pick. Um,
That was
yeah,
good.
so those are our dreams that will never happen because
I know. I almost said Babe
yeah,
Ruth for baseball, but he'd get smoked.
Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.